Hey everybody, are you sick of watching videos about seed starting yet? I hope not, because we have to talk about the next step, which is what happens when you broadcast sow your seeds, like I've been doing with a lot of mine. What happens next? And that's where we're at on these. This is a tale of two different seeds here. So these are the snapdragons that I potted up in a video a month ago. These should not look like this. This is something new that I'm trying this year. This is tassel flower, Amelia coccinea, which actually looks really good and needs to be moved on. So both of these are going to get moved to their own little cells. And what I'm using are little 6-pack cells that are a little bit deeper. See if I can get one out of here so you can see how deep these are. So this is not your average like 1-inch deep. This is quite a deep cell. Again, I'm hoping with these, this will be their last stop and that I won't need to pot them up further because they've got some more root room to grow there. So let's just talk briefly about what happened with these snapdragons. The answer is that I don't actually know what happened. They just sort of stopped doing anything. So a sure sign that something is going on with your seedlings is if they just sort of pause. Like they don't die, but you notice that they're not growing either. Something is amiss, and clearly something was amiss with these. Now, was there a water issue? Did they get a little crowded in there? I don't think they got too crowded in there. Did they need some fertilizer and they didn't get it? I don't usually start fertilizing my seedlings that early. So was there a temperature problem? I don't know what the problem is here, but the only way to save these seedlings is to, even though they're pretty small, is to get them out and get them into their own cells. So that's what you need to do. If you've got a seedling that just stops, think for a second about why it might be unhappy and then try to fix that problem, because if you don't, it's even if they live, they're not going to be healthy, strong plants. So the thing when you broadcast sow seedlings like this is that you have to pull them out individually. And what I like to do is I use this little dibber. It could be a stick, it could be a upside down end of a spoon, it could be a pen, whatever you have, it doesn't matter. But what you really need to do is get in there and you need to sort of tease the roots out. You don't want to yank them out because there's a really good chance that you'll rip something. The other thing to know is that you should always handle your seedlings by a leaf, and preferably the cotyledons. If you can tell which one that is, those are the seed leaves, because those are gone, though you don't need those anymore. So I just stick something underneath there, grab them by a leaf, and just sort of gently lift up and try to sort of wiggle out an individual seedling here. And this might tell us why these seedlings are struggling. And it might be, so that's a lot of roots on a seedling. So I think that's what this was, is that they should have been moved on sooner. Anyway, so now you've got your little seedling, you're hanging on by your leaf. You move over to your new home, make a hole. This is going to have to be a big hole because of that big clump of roots there, and just sort of gently work them in there. And you don't really have to like jam them in, just kind of gently rest them in there. Point is, don't ever grab them by the stem because you only get one stem. And if you break a stem or you squeeze a stem or you bend a stem, it's all over. But you can always grow more leaves. Now you can do this, you might want to pull all your seedlings out and sort of separate them and then put them into the potting mix. You might develop your own system for this, but the point is the same. These two are growing very close together. It might be very hard to separate these two growing close together. So what I'm going to do is we're going to plant this and then we're going to thin one. I clearly have enough seedlings here, so maybe I would try a little bit more to separate those two if I didn't, but I have more seedlings than I need here. So Poke that guy in there. And then what we're going to do is you can use your fingernails or you can use a little scissors, and you're just going to pick whichever one looks stronger to stay, and then you cut the other one off down at the base. So if you get a big clump of them, you can also try to tease them out by the roots and sort of try to tease them apart down here. Doesn't always work, but this is why you want to sow thinly even when you're broadcast sowing. Now we got the snapdragons done. Now we need to do these guys, which are considerably larger, which will either make it easier or harder. So this little flower is so pretty. It's kind of an orange little ball on a stick. And apparently it can be a bit of a reseeder, but we'll see what it does. I just thought it'd be a really pretty little accent throughout the perennial garden. Okay, so I have filled up 18 cells and I still have quite a few left to go. So I guess I better get another tray for these. But you get the idea of how this works. You know, there are so many different ways to start seeds. In fact, I did a blog post about it recently and I'll put a link to that. I don't think any of them is necessarily better than another. They all have their pros and cons. This is a system that I use sometimes and I like it, and sometimes I use something else. But clearly you can see that there's a little bit of time at this stage. Hopefully though, I'm done messing with these seedlings now. They all look a little bit ragged. Don't worry about that. They will perk up quickly. Just back under the lights for these, and no more heat. You don't need bottom heat once everything germinates. So back under the lights for these for a while until it's time to harden them off. All right, good luck with your seedlings, and I hope you're having a great day in your garden. See you soon. Bye.